Hey everybody, welcome back to 2 Acres Evolving. So as you can see, I let the leaves get a little out of hand on this side of my yard. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be cleaning the east side of my yard, and I'm going to be mulching up all the leaves. I'm going to be mowing over them and mulching them, and then I'm going to go through and cut out the flower beds that I want in this area, and then I'm going to put the mulched leaves back in those flower beds so that they'll turn into compost and work their way down into the soil, because my soil can use all the help it can get. My soil is horrible. It's really hard clay soil, so anything that I can add into it to help it, the better. So I wanted to bring you all along and show you how I do that. So first I'm going to set the camera up and get this area all cleaned up with all the leaves and get them mulched up, and then I'm going to go through and cut out the flower beds, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the leaves after I cut out all the flower beds. And you'll probably see this tubing in the background. I just now put that there. That's the drip tubing that's running back to the pond area back in the back corner. And I haven't had a chance to bury it yet because I wanted to get the flower beds built first. So I just pulled it up and placed it right on the other side of this fence so I don't run it over it with the lawnmower. So just in case any of you is wondering what that is, that's what it is. Alright, so I got this area cleaned up and it looks a whole lot better without all those leaves laying around everywhere. I mulched them all up and I piled them up over here. This area is going to be a flower bed too, so I thought it would be a good idea to pile them up in an area that I need them anyway. So I piled them up here, and then what I'll do is I'll put them in my gorilla cart, and then after I cut out the flower beds, I'll go and put all the mulch leaves in the flower beds, and then I'm going to be adding something to that to help them break down faster. But first I've got to cut out the flower beds, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this rope, and it's going to be 6 feet flower beds all the way around. So I'm going to go up here, and then I'm going to go along the fence line, and then there will be a flower bed that goes along this side too. Now, I know I've mentioned this before in the past, but I have a lot of new subscribers, so I want to mention it again. The fence, the chain link fence that you see, it's going to be going away, and I'm going to be replacing it with something nicer. This was here when I moved in, and I just haven't had a chance to replace it yet. But all the way down, this chain link fence is going to be replaced. And also, where this chain link fence is that goes across the front here, I'm going to be backing it up a little bit, so it's, and I don't know if you can tell because of the shade, but it's going to go to the edge of the sidewalk here, and then it'll go connect to the chain link fence on this side. But I'm out of marking paint, so I'm just going to use this rope as a guide for the flower beds, and then once I get the rope set in where I want it, I'll go through and cut the flower beds out, and then I can get started laying the leaf mulch. Okay, so I have the flower bed edging cut out with the edger. If you haven't watched the previous video where I explained how I do the edging, I just go through with that straight edge and cut it out, And then now I'm just going to go through with a shovel and go at an angle and cut out the edge. So I'll show you how I do that. Alright, so this is pretty easy. All you have to do is just go along the edge where you cut out and go a few inches into the flower bed and go at an angle and just cut it out. And since I have the edge cut, I don't need this rope anymore. So just cut it out. And then it forms this edge right here that keeps the mulch in when you mulch the flower bed up. So now I'm just going to go along this entire thing and then go around the entire perimeter and do it just like this. Okay, so I went ahead and tilled up the flower beds around this, and since I tilled it up, you can really see where the flower beds are going to be all the way around. And then the center part I'm going to be laying sod next spring. I debated on whether I wanted to till the soil up in this area or not. So I decided just to go ahead and till it up just to help it out. And I noticed that the soil is not half bad in this area. It's not hard clay soil. It's not the hard clay soil that I have in most other areas of my property. So I think it's because this area was constantly full of leaves every fall, and just years and years of leaves falling in this area because of all the trees. I think it's helped the soil out. But I'm still going to do the leaf mulch and show you how I'm going to do that. So this is what I'm going to be using today. I have the leaves mulched up, and I probably could have done a better job of mulching it, but that'll do. Mulching the leaves up help break it down faster to form compost. Now, there's two things that you need in order to be successful at creating compost. You need a carbon source, which would be the dried up leaves, and you need a nitrogen source. The nitrogen source, you can use grass clippings. If you deadhead plants or cut plants back, you can use that as a nitrogen source. But since it's fall, I really don't have much of a nitrogen source in my flower beds to take and lay out in these specific flower beds. So what I'm going to be using is blood meal. Blood meal has a lot of nitrogen in it, and I only have 2 bags right now. That's all that the store had when I went, and I know I'm going to need more than that. These 2 bags might cover this section of the flower bed over here, but I'm going to go ahead and I'll probably just do this section today and then do this section over here later, whenever I can get some more blood meal. I'm going into town today, so I may be able to find some later today. And then one more thing that I wanted to talk about is I didn't till this specific area up over here for a couple of different reasons. I have this tree stump in here, and there's roots down there. I need to burn this tree stump out this fall. And then I also have this tree right here. And this tree is staying. I'm just going to plant around it, and I didn't want to disturb the roots of this tree very much. So that's why I stopped tilling about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this flower bed over here. Alright, so I have the leaf mulch down now, and I'm still going to have to do the rest of it. 2 bags was able to cover this specific area, so I'll probably go get 4 or 5 more bags to finish it up. I do plan on adding an actual composting bin on my property. I'm not exactly sure where I want it yet, so I haven't started that. But once I do start that, I'll go into more depth of how to create good compost for your soil. And with the hard clay soil that I have in most areas in my property, I'm definitely going to need to add things to it to help loosen it up so that my plants will thrive, so I'm not spending all this money on plants just for them to struggle. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.